going to go ahead and put you live, area code 239. Hello.
Hey, Raquel.
Hey.
Hey, it's Virgo.
Hey, how are you? Thank you. Welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been talking all by myself because my co-host is a no-show.
Oh, my. Wow.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. I'm going to really get him. No, I'm just teasing. He's an awesome guy. He's probably stuck in traffic or something. He lives in the Bronx, and he's probably like rushing home. But anyway,
I know
that's okay.
feeling.
I'll forgive him one of these days. So I don't know if you were listening to part of it, but I did introduce you. I did talk about you a little bit. Jorge, is that G like an H? Pronounced like with an H, like, or G? Your first name?
Gergo.
Gergo. What nationality is that?
It's Greek, and it means watching.
Nice. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let the listeners know that you and I have been friends for a couple of years. I let them know that I think you're a really nice guy. You and I have chatted quite a bit, and I know sometimes I'm down on things, and somehow, we get to chatting, and you've really been a good friend to me. So I shared that with everybody.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I try my best to be a friend.
You're a good guy. I mean, I think you're a great guy. I also let them know that you are revamping South Florida Cop Watch. You've put together over 7,000 people, activists in Southern Florida, to follow and research and expose police corruption that occurs. So I'm really happy about that. It has to get out. People are afraid to do that. People just don't want to, tell the truth. I mean, it just because we follow police corruption or that we're paying attention and we want to expose it, shed some light on it, there's nothing wrong with us, right? It doesn't mean we hate police officers. It doesn't mean we don't have respect for authority. It doesn't mean any of that. I know that. I have so many police officer friends. I grew up in Queens County, a Irish Italian neighborhood. Half the kids I went to school with are police officers or firemen, quite frankly, and they're good, really good guys. A lot of them are retired at this point, but I know that they do their job and they do their job well, and I just wanted to say that, and also I hate to have to preface. I hate to have to preface the conversation with that. It should. People should already understand that we're not. Blaming all of the police. We're just not.
No, not at all. There's a lot of bad seeds, but there's also a lot of good cops out there. It's just. Right now, media is pushing so hard on the bad cops, you don't see any of the good cops. But there are good cops out there.
I agree. So what brought you about, what was were you a victim of police brutality, or what was it about? I know you told me, you since you were a kid, you wanted to be in the service and you wanted to be a dad. And those were the two most important things that you wanted to accomplish.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do since fourth grade. I made that decision right after 9/11 happened. I knew that I wanted to join the military and protect this country, and I also knew that I wanted to be a father and start a family. I seen all these teenagers when I was a little kid out going partying, this, that, and the other thing. I didn't want that. That wasn't for me. I wanted to get a family together, get a job, and take care of my family. I started that process of going towards the military, and then during that process, I was about to go out to basic training. The week before I was about to go, I found out I was going to be a dad. And since I wasn't married to her mother, they wouldn't allow that.
Who wouldn't allow that? Why not? I don't get that part.
because the laws state that you have to have in case, like, say I got killed in combat or whatever, my daughter would have to have a legal custody, and then it was a whole bunch of legal matter that I still don't really understand to this day. So it has just to do with laws, which I think is a little crazy,
see.
but yeah.
Well, sounds strange.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
She was born, so I had to put that on the back burner. And after she was born, she was kidnapped by her mother for 8 months. Completely disappeared off the radar, no cell phone, no social media, no nothing. I asked my local city and sheriff to help, as well as the FBI to help me. None of them was willing to help me because I could not prove she was out of the state because I had no idea where she was. I even put out a $3,000 reward. Nobody knew nothing. She really went off the grid completely.
Where was she?
And she was 2 cities away, and it took me 8 months to find her and start the court process. And $7,000 later, I was able to get her back. And that's why I actually started Cop Watch, because I believe that the police need to be held accountable. They put a really sour taste in my mouth because they refused to help me because I had no idea where she was. That's that, and on top of it, I want everything that I see in the media, all this negative stuff. I don't want that for my daughter to grow up around all that. Cops killing this, cops doing that, cops doing this. I believe my daughter deserves a better life than that, so that's why I started Cop Watch.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of started. The same thing happened to me. I really, didn't cover police brutality until it hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was a victim of police brutality, and it shocked the crap out of me because during which time all I could think of was, let me call the police to help me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me call the police. Oh, wait a second, it is the police. It was a shock, a complete shock. Blew me away. That I'm literally my brain was telling me, call the police. I'm so trained to know if I'm in trouble, call the police, call 911, right, for an emergency, call 911. But
that's what we're told to do.
But I kept looking up, and it was the police who were hurting me. So it's like, oh my goodness, I'm in a state of shock right now. And I ended up, basically beating them in court, which is fine. And I'm, free, but, I have a terrible looking mugshot, online where my enemies have used and taken and lied and spread it around, and, And then I thought, oh, this is terrible. This is just terrible. But I thought, well, you know what? If it gives me an edge, maybe. Because I don't know. I'm trying to look on the bright side. And you know what? Yes, I was arrested, people. Okay, I was. You Google my name, you might find my mugshot. And the reason why you're finding my mugshot is because I have an enemy from New York City who's never met me in person, who just dislikes me because of my politics and has been on my case for years. So he got a hold of the website, the mugshot, and then he made a whole website out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
Don't you have something better to do?
I think that's just ever terrorism, personally.
I think it's strange behavior.
That turns someone's life completely upside down.
Oh yeah, and that's not the only one. I've had that happen to me a couple of times. More in recent, and I told you about it. The most recent time. It's just been horrific. I just I don't know why people they're like psychopaths or something.
Mhm. I fully agree with that.
Okay, so let's get back to you. So you then decided, oops. Do you hear my daughter in the background? do you hear her? Because she's like, I want to go to bed. I'm like, go to bed. Allison, you can go to bed. Go ahead. Go to bed by yourself. No, she wants a brother to go with her. That's a problem. I'll take care of that one second. But I wanted to ask you. So, all right. So then you didn't have, you got a bad taste in your mouth. The cops didn't help you like you expected. What did you do next?
Well, I after the 8 months of searching and spending $7,000, private investigator, the whole 9 yards, the guy she left me for decided he was going to go to the military, and then she decided to call me saying that she missed me, this, that, and the other thing. And on one of the calls, she didn't block her number, and I was able to get that number and take it down to the courthouse and start the court case of getting her back. But, which I did. And because they didn't holding her mother accountable, I felt like I was inclined to start holding the cops accountable for their actions. So I started up the software Cop Watch. It's been almost 2 years now. It's slowly growing. We did have a boom during Mike Brown, the rest in peace, shooting.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
You were covering
I'm pretty
it.
sure the whole nation remembers that.
Yeah, that's true. Still talking about it, and it's a good thing. They should be. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
You know, part of the. You know what I was thinking, Gergo. That part of a big part of the problem is the public. That they're okay with this police brutality business. Yeah.
None of them stick up against it. It's very seldomly do they, and it's only when it hits national news. If something happens locally and it's on local news, they won't even do anything. Nothing. They won't protest. They won't do petitions. They won't try to hold whoever officer did this accountable. They don't even look into it. It's just another thing to them. Another daily. It's starting to become a daily occurrence.
Right.
It's really sad.
Right. It is really bad. You know what? I went to see a speaker a few weeks ago, and I had to pay. Okay, fine. I had to pay $20 or whatever, $15. And he was an attorney.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I told you about this. He was an attorney, and he was talking about gun rights in the state of Florida, which of course interests me because I'm a gun rights writer. And so I brought my notebook. I was taking notes. Efren's back. Let me just put him on.
Okay.
Efren Gonzalez, is that you?
Yes, I apologize. We had technical difficulties. We had apparently there was a problem with there's a lot of bad weather coming up from the south, and nobody could fix my phone, but I actually fixed it myself. It was unbelievable. The signal, I was losing it. Yeah, because the Wi-Fi. Yeah, because I talked through Wi-Fi, and for whatever reason, they're having problems tonight. So I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, okay. I was shredding you. No, just kidding. Efren Gonzalez is not here, and he's in big trouble.
Well, apparently you must have having a good time without me because the beat goes on, but that's great. That's great. I love it. So, you could just keep doing what you're doing, and I'll figure it out as we go along because I don't want to break the rhythm of what was going on before. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just give you a little tiny update. Well, actually, I'm going to do a station break right now, and then we'll give everybody an update about who our guest is. So you're listening to Reach Out America Radio, sponsored by World Integrity News Network. This program is called Imploding the Illusion, and I'm your host, Raquel Okiai, and my co-host is Efren Gonzalez. All righty. So, oh, gosh, do you hear my daughter in the background?
Yes.
Yeah, she's really cranky. I'm going to let me just tell you about Gergo. Then I'm going to actually just go off the line and deal with my children, and I'm going to let you take over for a few minutes. But let me just tell you what's going on, Efren. This is my friend Gergo Haydis. We've been Facebook friends for a couple of years, a really good guy. He started and founded South Florida Cop Watch. And he's brought together like over 7,000 activists in Southern Florida to sort of report on the problems. And before we got into our discussion, we prefaced it with the idea that, you know, we're not anti-police, we're not, we respect police officers, we respect authority. The police officers that we're talking about are the ones that are not doing the right thing, you know, so just wanted to clear that up. And I'm going to go ahead and Gergo, if you can just go ahead where you started, and I'm gonna go on hold for a few minutes, and I'll be right back. And you guys
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Well, Earl, if you could just let us know exactly what your organization has been involved in, and I guess let us know what you've observed, because I gather that there's probably a lot of stories that the people in the World Wide Web would be interested in hearing about.
Okay. Well, like she said, I want to reiterate, we are not anti-cop. We are not pro-cop. We are for police accountability on the bad cops, the ones that do break the law. We want to hold them accountable. We're not anti-cop in the slightest. We promote the good things that they do when we find out about it, but it's really hard for us to find the good things because the mainstream media only covers the bad the majority of the time, and that's how we see what we see and we retell it, as well as we go out on foot and record cops. We do boots on the ground and as well as online.
I'm back, guys, by the way. And then I'm also writing for Gergo. I mean, I've written for his website before, a couple of articles, and now moving forward with the new website, I'm going to be covering all DCF cases, Efren.
Very interesting. That is very interesting. So my question would be, based on the observation, what would take place if you document a case of police misconduct? Now, is there an agency that you present that to? Do you present it to the district attorney in the county that it occurred, or do you have obstacles, and are you limited or prohibited from getting that information to the proper authorities?
Well, right now we are just a group organization. We're not LLC or a nonprofit. We are working to become a nonprofit, so we're just activists at the moment. So there are some hurdles that we have to go through. What we do is we try to do the public request, get all the information. We try to, since we're not lawyers or anything, we can't give out legal advice. We can suggest what we would do in that situation and what would happen. We can guide them to lawyers that are close to them and that we believe would help them the best. And then we would go around and tell their story so their story can be told to spread awareness about what's going on in their city, their county, or whatever.
Have you ever incurred any type of retaliation from the police? Have they tried to take action through court order to subpoena any of your footage?
Good question.
Good question. I know the answer to that. Okay, go ahead.
The most recent one is last year. There was a local kid who got completely brutalized by a cop while he was sleeping in his truck waiting for his girlfriend to get off of work at his girlfriend's work. They claimed that they could smell marijuana, and they had a call about a suspicious person. So he had broken bones, he had bruises and whatnot. Well, we posted that story, and then supposed hacktivists reached out to us claiming they hacked that police department's servers and whatnot and leaked out multiple, and if I remember correctly, it was like maybe 60 officers' information in retaliation. And I wrote the story about that hacktivist because he reached out to me and was telling me that. And 2 months ago, 2 months ago, I had federal agents knock on my door questioning me about that. And because of that, I had to lose my place because I got kicked out. And it's just been a lot of mess. I almost lost my job because of it. But, so they are retaliating when all I did was publish a story. And
because you published a story, right?
They claim that because they can't find out who this hacker is or any of that I'm the hacker.
That's what
without any
they're
proof.
targeting me.
So
Correct.
that's exactly what they told you. They told you that they thought that because they thought that you were the hacker.
They told my landlord that outside while I was inside on the phone with my lawyer.
Wow, that is.
Did they have a warrant, Gergo?
No. At the time, I was falling back on my parents because I just left my ex-fiance because I found out she was putting her hands on my daughter. So I fell back on my parents, and one of my siblings took the officers in.
That is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That is very interesting. And it seems to me that what they tried to do was they tried to do a reverse counterattack on you by inflicting a cast of doubt to the people that you rely on, like your landlord, for you to live your regular life. And that tactic is not surprising because I think it's done all over the country. But please let us know
it's
exactly
a tactic,
more. Yeah, it is a tactic. It's very bad because that evidence, and the thing, my concern is that if someone does have a piece of evidence, and who's to say that the police department, Raquel, that they would not violate the Fourth Amendment to go in and raid a house or say that they were looking for probable a potential weapon or whatever, because they could literally say that someone called them and told them that, so that's why
it's not.
Very
what?
difficult.
It's not enough. It's not about. They can't come in your house with probable cause of their own. They take their probable cause. They go before an impartial judge, and they sign an affidavit to that probable cause, and then impartial judge decides whether they're going to give you a warrant. So that's like something that police officers get. I think they get that confused, and I think they get it wrong because that was part of the problem in my case. And in fact, they did not have a right to enter my house based on a 911 call. They didn't have a warrant, and I did not give them consent. And that's it. So, my advice to people is don't believe them. Not a caseworker, not a police officer, not anybody. Anybody on the face of the earth. If you didn't invite to your house and you don't want them to come in, you don't have to. The Fourth Amendment says so. Unless you're a fleeing felon, or there's somebody screaming and dying, there's a kid going, "Help me, I'm dying." The police can go in. That's an emergency, exigent circumstances. But other than that, that's it. They just can't. And people don't get that part. And you have to exercise. Yeah, go ahead.
If I may add, you got to let those officers know that you have to ask if they have a warrant and tell them to leave. If you do not respond, that is suspicion. That they can say that's suspicion and then enter in because you do not respond.
Well, they could not even enter without consent, even on a suspicion, because exercising your constitutional right, legally, exercising your constitutional rights cannot be converted to a crime. It can't. The United States Supreme Court said that, so you can't convert that to a crime. So just because you say, "Look, I am exercising my Fourth Amendment right. I'm not going to give you consent. Please leave my property." That's it. They're done. They got to go home. Now, if they go and do what they do, or sometimes, and bum rush you in the house, you got a problem. And you're going to have to get them later, I suppose. But it's not fair. And I wanted to go back to the. I think I have John Orwell on the line. He's the caller for the next hour, and he's pressed 1. So I'm going to go ahead and let him in.
Okay.
Real quick. Maybe he has a question. John, is that you? John, are you there? Because I put you on live.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Just in case, I saw that you were on the line, and I just wanted to bring you on in. If you want to say something, you can. So you are live right now too. So what I wanted to say was what Gergo, or I was starting to say before my kids started. I had to get off the line for a minute. The part of the problem is the public, right? So I had gone to see a speaker supposedly talk about Florida gun rights, which interests me, right, because I'm a gun rights writer. And I went with my pad and paper, and I was really, psyched to get some new information. And basically, the attorney talked about, what the cops can do, and cops are right. And quite frankly, towards the end of I was getting really uptight, and I was fidgeting in my seat, and I really was uncomfortable, and I really wanted to leave. And I think that the speaker knew that by my body language, and he looked right at me, and he says, if you're all uncomfortable or something, you can just leave. And right before that, he said, I support police brutality. Right after he said that, he said, and then he gets off on a different side. Yes, because I support police. You already knew he supported police brutality by his presentation. And with that, I got up and left, and I wasn't the only one. There was one other person who left with me. So, but we're talking about a room of 25 people listening to some, white dude, and I don't have anything against white people. I'm white, but some, white dude lawyer tell us, those, the scum of the earth are the people that we beat up, and we should beat them up. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the gist of it. The gist of it was, you go let the cops do their job because they're thugs, and they deserve to be beaten. That's basically the advice the guy gave. It was horrible, horrible, horrible advice. But This is the problem, is the public says, yes, yep, they're thugs. They might rob me tomorrow. So as long as they're a bad, the media loves the bad guy versus the good guy, and the good guy's always the cop. And if that scenario doesn't fit perfectly, something's off, to the public, because they're so used to that good guy, bad guy scenario that it doesn't always exist. So I think a lot of our mission has to do with educating the public about, look, we don't hate police. We're not against authority. We don't. We are also we are law-abiding citizens. But however, there's a Constitution. There's the United States Constitution, and we have rights. And if we just start letting the government step all over our rights, which we are already doing, it never ends. When does it end? Do you want the government to be Big Brother? I don't.
Oh no.
I think we have to convince the people, and part of I think your website, does that to some extent.
We try to give out statistics like right now, as of this morning, 964 people have died in America due to the hands of a cop this year alone. Last year was 1,000. And in Florida, just alone this year, 62 people dead. That's an alarming number, just the 62 alone. We've lost more American citizens by cops than we've lost soldiers in Iraq. It's scary.
Wow. Wow.
Now, there was something else that I found out, and I'm sure, I don't know if anybody else did, but there was a shooting of a dog that the police went into a property in Florida, and the police went in and they shot the dog of the homeowner. Now, my question was, and I got some bad blowback from a couple of police officers on Facebook, that I said those police officers had no business with their guns drawn going into that location, because there was no imminent danger. There was no reason for them to be there in the first place. It was that they thought that there was something. And when you think
that's not enough
there was no 911 call, I wonder if by chance that is common practice in Florida, where law enforcement will just walk on your lawn, which is basically your property. It's not, and then
it is your property, right?
Right. If a dog confronts them, they're going to shoot the dog, which I think is wrong. I don't think that police officer had any business with his gun drawn because there was no danger, and his life wasn't in danger. But if you're going onto someone's property, I mean, you got to give the owner the benefit of the doubt. You should call for the owner to get the dog. I don't know what type of plan anyway. They put him on modified duty, but I'm just wondering because Florida seems to be a hotbed for officers walking in and doing what they please. Now, you know, I'm not saying it doesn't happen anywhere else, but I think it happens a lot in Florida. Florida is a very funny state with law enforcement. And Raquel, you are right. If the people do not know their rights, and it's not just knowing it, because if we stay silent, then we're consenting to them breaking the law, because we're not allowed to let them overstep their boundaries. But I don't know. I really don't know.
And remember, the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So any law that wars with the Constitution is in fact null and void. You know, that's what the courts have said. So you know, the law is on our side. The law is on our side for freedom, right? The law is on our side. The Constitution of the United States and Bill of Rights. You know, they protect us. It protects us. It's supposed to anyway, from this kind of tyranny, because it is tyranny, right? So, like, let's just talk. I mean, okay, let's stick with this dog story. That's not the first one. These killing the dog is all over the place, and I spent a lot of time, you know, doing a lot of research on gun rights and stuff like that, and I know that when you're trained properly to use a firearm, you don't put your finger on the trigger ever until you're ready to shoot. I mean, I think anybody who knows anything about guns, I mean, this is like a golden rule, and it is a rule for police officers too. And the idea is you're not putting your finger on the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. So then I watch these videos that pop up with the police, and they got their hand. Not only do they have their finger on the trigger, but they're pointing it at somebody because they're holding a camera.
Right, which is totally wrong.
It's
if you
totally
know that
wrong.
It is a camera, and I think that what it does is it there's a thin line here now where we have in America where we have this pro-gun control and pro-gun rights, and now let's take a look at that, because now when the camera is involved in an incident with the police, it's a First Amendment issue, and everybody who is pro-gun control, who says that, we don't need guns because it'll help, we'll clean up the crime. But then I tell them, if the police don't want you to film them and they want to come into your house and get the film, how do you protect yourself? Because what I always tell people is, a police officer, if they don't want you to film them and you do film them and then you run into your house, actually, technically, they have no business going into your house. And this
no, they don't.
This is the
not without a warrant.
Now. If they come back later and the officer comes back, and a lot of times there was an incident in New York, Queens, New York, a few years ago, where 3 detectives made a raid. They raided a nail salon, where a massage parlor. And what had happened was that when those officers went in, some of the girls who were giving the massages, they wound up having sex with them. They kind of forced them to have sex. And what happened was
Nasty.
that they still raided the place, but then they left and they took a tape. So what had happened was that they thought that there was no other tape. They went in the middle of the night, and they went in the middle of the night into this Russian massage parlor.
Unbelievable.
And what happened was
and then
that
they raped the women. Yeah.
Right, they did. Now, when they left, they didn't think that there was any evidence, but then they went back, and the lights were out. These are the cops. They broke back in a day later, and he had a hidden camera within the hidden camera, and it had night vision. So when they went in, he got it on tape. They gave it to the district attorney, and they were convicted.
Wow, that's good.
This is what I want you to know about that now. Technically, the owner of the shop knew that if he did not have a backup tape, those girls would have been, their story would have been washed away. Nobody would have believed it. They would not have done a rape kit or anything. So when he did that, they wound up checking the females for any type of sexual abuse. It was a very strange case, but it tells people, and this is what I tell people, if you can get hidden surveillance cameras installed into your home where that no one knows if they come in that they're going to be filmed, because technically you have a right to do that. That is one of the best things you can do to protect yourself. They can take your camera that looks like a camera, but there's a hidden camera somewhere where they won't know, and you can get them. And I'm going to tell you, in this day and age, you got to be very careful because police officers lie. They will lie.
Yeah.
They're
trained to lie.
Some of them will lie. They're trained to lie.
They're trained to lie.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll say,
and then
they'll put you in a room, Raquel, and they'll say, well, you will say, well, you guys had no right coming into my house because there was no probable cause. There was no 911 call. There was no reason for you to whatever. He spoke to me through the door, and there was no reason to come in. Well, we heard somebody screaming in the house. Well, that was my kid. Kids scream, And then what happens is that they'll get you in, and they'll say, well, we just wanted to bring you in for questioning. And then they'll have the guy in the window watching you, and then what they'll do is they'll start telling you all this sidebar stuff. They'll bring up things in the past. They'll bring up, and what they try to do is they try to intimidate you into saying something that will incriminate you. It's actually artwork because they got it down to a T. That's why you never speak to a police officer or a detective in a police station without your attorney present. Your attorney, I don't know if you ever saw the show Blue Bloods, and there was a scene with Bruce Cutler, the lawyer, and the police commissioner, Tom Selleck. When he sees the door open and Bruce comes in and says, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Murph? Okay, great. Okay, what's my client here for? Okay, you guys got any questions? Okay. All right, so he's coming with me. And that was it. And that's exactly why you have your attorney, because they're not going to mess with that attorney, because that attorney would just throw it down the drain. And then he can actually get a subpoena to find out who was writing what or whatever. So it can get very ugly. You got to have an attorney. If you don't have an attorney, your life can take a big That's right.
Yeah.
That's
just
right.
don't talk.
And
don't
listen. Yeah, listen to Blog Talk Radio, but don't talk. Listen to Blog, but don't talk.
Don't talk.
Don't talk. Don't talk.
Wait for an attorney or a public defender or somebody else there that can help you. Do not.
Right.
You always wait for somebody.
Right. And even when they bring you in to talk about somebody else, because your lawyer may tell you. Your lawyer may tell you.
They'll trick you.
I saw him at the bar. Okay. But when you say that, they can ask you, well, where did you talk? Did you talk in the bathroom? Did you talk? And you know what you say? Your lawyer will tell you, I was in the establishment, I paid my tab, and I left. I don't recollect anything. That's why you got to have a good attorney.
Definitely. Yeah, and unfortunately, and it's not right because, it is, special rights. But in America, if you have money, you have more rights than anybody else because you can hire good attorneys. So then we have the business of, court-appointed attorneys because you're indigent or you don't have any money, and then you're given an attorney. And these attorneys are the bottom of the barrel. right? They don't, you know, they work as they get these cases because they can't make the money in a private industry against the other lawyers, right? They're not as good, so they need these cases, and what ends up happening is they just work with the state, so they're not really even defending your rights as a court-appointed attorney. They're just shaking hands with the prosecutor. Okay, I get this one, you get that one. Let's wheel and deal. You know, we'll tell the judge will agree, and then what happens to people's rights? Well, just because they can't afford an attorney, they can't get a good one. I mean, that's what's going on. And without a good defense, without a good lawyer, you're screwed. I mean, you're just completely screwed in court. And we're gonna talk about that soon. I wanted to invite you, Gergo, if you have time, I'd really like you to stay on the call, and I want you to hear out my second guest. If you have time.
I got like maybe 10 to 15 more minutes I can stay, yeah.
Okay, well then...
I'm actually sitting on a side of the road on my way to one of my friend's house.
Oh, yeah. You're such... See why I know I like you, because you're just a good guy. You're like, I got to call the Kill Show. If I got to sit on the side of the road, I'm going to sit on the side of the road. That's so great. Thank you so much. No, I'm actually... I want to give you a last word and let you go, because after we're going to go to a break. It's going to be like a 3-minute commercial, and then I'm going to bring John on, and then maybe, you know, your time is up anyway. But I want to make sure you get your last word before we go to break.
Well,
you can actually stay on still, but I just want you to give me your, you know, just a closing about, you know, this event.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're at South Florida Cop Watch. Our main goal is boots on the ground eventually, not just telling people's stories, but having people go out and record cops, and also start community boards where the people in charge of viewing the cops' cameras that they have, and have the people in charge of that, and not the cops, where the cops can say, oops, it's gone, oops, something happened, my canine ate it, I forgot to turn it on, this, and so we want community boards to hold the cops accountable, and that is our main goal at South Florida Cop Watch.
I like that idea. I would be willing to be like a captain or something, like for Hillsborough County. Just keep me in mind. I like that idea. That's an awesome idea, because we need citizens to oversee what they're doing, because the prosecutors are their best friends. You know, they're not going to convict each other. There's no oversight. There's nobody looking over the police, and we need the citizens to do that. And I'd be very happy to help you organize that. So yeah, we'll be in touch anyway. And I'm going to be writing the DCF cases, which I'm really excited about doing. I'm just going to bang them out. I'm going to bang them out every week. I have so many. I have so many to tell. And as far as I think I'm definitely going to be doing a protest in Hillsborough on November. I think it's November 5th. Yeah. That's the
Million Man March or the Million Mass March or
the
something
Million
like that.
Man March. Yeah, except that in Hillsborough they're having a special for adoption. Like the courts and the companies that snatch the kids that work for DCF, right? They snatch the kids. They're the ones hosting the fundraiser, which is kind of funny because the people who are snatching the kids and the courts are hosting this fundraiser for adoption. They're celebrating adoption, basically. So what I want to do is, Asher's going to put together a Facebook page for me. So what I want to do is go there and basically show the pictures of the kids who were stolen. So, okay, you're adopting these kids out. These kids are loved by their parents and they've been stolen. So sort of, the complete opposite is going on, what they're, talking about. So I'm excited. I want to be involved, and I try to be involved as much as I can.
Well, tonight or tomorrow, and I'll see what I can help you with about that.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate it. I really appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you coming on tonight, and I'm so glad that we've been friends, for a few years, and we've gotten to know each other. And I think what you're doing is awesome. You know, I think you're a true leader, and I don't want to say I want to say I'm proud of you, but you know, it's you know, I'm not your mom or anything. I'm just so proud of you, though. I'm just proud of you, Gergo. I just am. Just want to let you know that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before I go, can I give a shout out to one fundraiser that's going on that we're trying to help promote?
Yes, please do.
Right now, there's a Marion County patriot who's locked up in jail for standing up for his rights. He was. They tried to raid his house with a tank over a misdemeanor driving charge. And,
oh my goodness!
Yeah. So one of his family members made a false claim and whatnot. Now he's sitting in jail because he feared for his life, and he didn't shoot at the officers that were out there. It was like over an hour standoff, and there was officers out of their cars and whatnot. He shot at the tank to make the tank go away, so he could talk to the officers, and now he's being charged with 10 counts of manslaughter, I believe it is. And we're trying to help him raise. Yeah, we're trying to help him raise some money.
What part of Florida?
Marion County.
And
he has a Facebook page for him called Stand Up for Dustin Heathman. That has more details about his story.
What was that name again? Justin?
Dustin with a D.
With a D.
Heathman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spell the last name, please.
Heathman.
Heathman. Okay, fine. I'll definitely look him up. And also give us your new website address.
It is, well, we still are using southfloridacopwatch.org, and it redirects to our new one, which is sflcw.org.
Thank you. Okay, sounds good. All righty, we are going to definitely go to a break right now. John, just hang in there with me. Of course, Efren, hang in there with me. Again, I just want to thank you, Gergo, for coming on. We'll have you back in a few weeks. All right, cool. All right. I wish you the best of luck.
Have that father contact me on Facebook if possible.
I definitely will.
Okay. All right. Or somehow just get him a hold of me, because I would definitely love to talk to him.
Okay, sounds good. I appreciate that.
I'm just sitting on the side of the road and have somebody waiting on me.
I know you went there because I got to do Raquel's show. If I got to sit on the side of the road, that's okay.
Yeah. Never text and drive and never talk and drive, I say. That's extremely dangerous.
Good advice. I try not to talk and drive. I definitely don't talk and I don't text and drive. I can't stand when I see people texting. It really pisses me off. Okay, guys, we're going to go to a commercial break. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Well, thank you.
Hold on, everyone. You're welcome.
Have a good day.